Social media has been under fire for silencing conservative voices, and now several attorney generals are joining Trump in a push to regulate these online platforms. I've got legal journalist Molly Barrows with me. Molly, who are the AGs that are jumping in on this? Because, I mean, as I look at this, this has potential to be a real big problem for social media.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how far this particular petition goes down the line. Now, going back to the AGs, there are 4 AGs that are supporting this petition that Donald Trump has asked the Commerce Department to file, basically to put regulation of what, to make it more transparent, the regulation process that social media companies use when they're either taking down tweets or telling people that, you know, whatever social media posts they put on there, to make it transparent about why they have regulated a certain bit of information. But it's 4 Republican AGs from Louisiana, Texas, Indiana, and Missouri, and they're supporting his bid to potentially put this underneath the FCC's regulation to hold these basically different social media accounts, providers accountable for whenever they take steps to regulate. Of course, all this came after Twitter.
Let me tell you where I think this heads. I don't think it just heads where the end of this process is. They have to change the way they do business. I think these AGs understand that if they can find something to penalize them, to come up with, you know, you owe us this much money.
You're responsible somehow.
These guys aren't going to do this for nothing.
Right.
They're not going to do it simply because Trump's asking them to. What they're seeing is some penalties that at the end of this case they think they're going to be able to put together. That would be my guess. And they have the ability to use criminal investigations because they're the Attorney General. So they have the right to use criminal investigations to get to material that ordinarily we might not be able to get to. So I see this as a lot bigger threat to the tech companies. What's been the response by the FCC in this? I mean, what's the FCC
Well,
saying
you know, the
about it?
chairman is Ajit Pai, and he has been associated with a number of...
Complete jerk, by the way.
That's a good way to put it.
Absolutely.
You know, he was in the pocket of a number of high-powered media companies, if you will, when they were looking to bend the rules. It used to be that only a certain number of stations could be owned, for example, by a company in any particular market, and he was instrumental in having some of those rules changed so that particular media companies could own more than one outlet in a
his
market.
goal, Pai's goal is to make it impossible for somebody that has a social media platform to compete with MSNBC, CNN, all the big networks. If you go now, just tell you the impact of it now, if you will go now and look at some of the stories that are coming out from just a credible social media platform, you will see underneath those stories covered up with MSNBC, CNN, ABC, all the big networks. Pai brought that about because of the way that he's maneuvering this.
Well, he's not commented on this in particular. He's basically going to put it up for public review. Typically, the FCC doesn't regulate. He has said before that they're not in a position to necessarily, it shouldn't be their job to regulate social media platforms. And I don't agree, though. I think it's a threat to the exact opposite of what this man who talks about fake news. I feel like it's the exact opposite. He is empowering whichever political office happens to be in power at the time to basically say, hey, you're going to take down my tweet.
Right.
I don't like it. I'm calling you fake news, when he's the one that is the biggest liar of them all. I mean, if his pants were on fire, they'd stay that way.
Yeah. So the point comes, the point is, though, that you can't ignore the danger. I think this is what you're saying.
And I do agree with you about that.
You can't ignore the danger of democracy is built on an open discussion, whether you agree with it or not,
yes,
Molly.
100%.
I mean, you might totally hate everything he has to say,
but he has a right to say it.
He has a right to say it.
We had this same debate with the debate about Penthouse magazine.
Exactly. And why is it that who are the people that judge the ideology and say, no, this is not acceptable and this is acceptable?
Right.
Look, you've had so many writers talk about the dangers of having these gatekeepers that make a decision what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
And that's very true.
The market takes care of itself.
Right.
If you put it out there and it's so crazy that the market rejects it, that's part of the process.
Well, and part of the process too is when the market accepts it. That's how we got this guy in the White House.
Well, okay, so that is how we work in a democracy.
You're right.
We put
it's still
ideas
up to the individual
out,
to decide.
and as much, you know, I don't have any love for this guy at all.
Right.
I mean, zero. But I do have love for the democratic process. I have love for the idea that journalism requires an open discussion.
Well, and then you're right. And they have outlets to hold accountable these outlets that put out misinformation deliberately. And it's, you know, liable lawsuits and the like. So I'm with you, though. Whether it's good or bad, I don't think that regulation for free speech is good. This idea of
shutting down speech is very dangerous.
Right. Agreed.
Thanks for joining me, Molly.
Thanks, Pat.